Chapter 1 Prologue 10th of October, in the dead of the night, the most powerful Bijou, Kyubi no Kitsune, attacked the hidden village of Konoha no Sato. Disaster struck as no one was able to stop the rampaging Bijou. Many shinobi lost their lives in the process while almost half of the village was destroyed. That was until one man, the fourth Hokage Minato Namikaze, placed his life on the line to defeat the Bijou and save his village. In the end, he was able to stop the Kyubi by sealing the Bijou in a newborn baby, his own son, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, making him the next Jinchuriki of said Bijou. Though, this was at the cost of his and his wife's life, leaving the boy to be raised alone. 6 years later. The wind was blowing gently as a young boy sat atop the Hokage monument. His shoulder-length spiky blonde hair was blowing gently behind him, bangs covering the right side of his face as his bright blue eyes were shining from the sun's rays. His skin was fair and his most noticeable features were the 3 whisker markings on each cheek. His signature of being a Jinchuriki. He was wearing a navy blue long-sleeve t-shirt with gray pants that ended just above his ankles, blue shinobi sandals to add to it. This boy's name was Naruto Uzumaki, a 6-year-old, and the Jinchuriki of the most powerful Bijou, the Kyubi no Kitsune. He was overlooking the village as he thought. He always did like to come up to this place to think and relax. It has always been a peaceful place for him. 2 weeks ago, the third Hokage told him that he has submitted his admissions form for joining the Ninja Academy, and now, from tomorrow on, he will be going to the academy to become a shinobi. His dream is to become the Hokage so that he can protect the village he loves so dearly. Along with his dream, he wishes to surpass the fourth Hokage and get acknowledged by everyone as someone important. He knows the villagers don't like him much for reasons unknown to him, and his Gigi also won't tell him. Every time he asks, the answer always remains the same. I will tell you when you are old enough to know the truth. He had already started his basic ninja training 2 years ago, and his Gigi has helped him with some basic taijutsu techniques. He is very good with shuriken jutsu and kunai throwing, as he had also trained his body quite well for speed and quick reflexes. From tomorrow on, he is going to take his first step towards his dream. He was still nervous just thinking about it. Normally he was very calm and insightful, it all starting from a young age, showing noticeable maturity and knowledge on how to deal with complex situations. At the same time, he is still a young boy, so it shouldn't come as a surprise to him to feel nervous. He lets out a sigh as he comes back from his thoughts. Blinking, he looks up, noticed that it was already dark as the sky was starting to fill with stars. He hadn't realized how long he had been sitting there. He was so lost in his confused thoughts that he didn't realize that a person was coming towards him from behind until the person spoke. "Ah, I knew I'd find you here, Naruto-kun." At hearing that voice, Naruto turned around and saw his surrogate grandfather, Sarutobi Hiruzen, the third Hokage of Konoha, standing with a kind smile. He was wearing his formal Hokage robes as his skin was light pale, gray hair slightly mussed. His face had wrinkles and liver spots, signifying his old age. "What are you doing here, Gigi? I thought you'd be busy with your paperwork," Naruto asked, surprised. On hearing about paperwork, Hiruzen's face twitches a little before he composed himself. "Don't talk about my paperwork, Naruto-kun, I swear it's a bane for all Kages." Naruto just shook his head and turned around, looking over the village again, seeing the streetlights starting to light up. Hiruzen walked over and stood beside him before asked with concern. "Is something on your mind, Naruto-kun?" Naruto knew that he could always talk about anything with his surrogate grandfather. He was always concerned about him and helped him whenever he was in need. He also took him out to Ichirako's for ramen whenever he could. He always looked for Naruto's best. Most importantly though, he is the only person he has in his life. Turning his face in Hiruzen's direction, Naruto replied, "I'm just a little nervous. Tomorrow is going to be my first day in the academy and first steps towards my dream. I am scared of failures." Listening to him, Hiruzen asked, "What is your dream, Naruto-kun?" Naruto was quiet for some time before answered him. I want to become a shinobi among shinobi, strongest of them all and surpass all the previous Hokages, becoming the strongest of them all. That is quite a big dream you have there, Naruto-kun, said Hiruzen, a gentle smile gracing his face. He knew that Naruto was a very talented kid, far more mature than the other kids his age. Hearing him say that he wanted to become Hokage, Hiruzen was happy for him. Why do you want to become the Hokage? I want to become the Hokage so that I can protect the village which the previous Hokages, along with many shinobi, have given their lives to protect. Then everyone will respect me and acknowledge me as someone, Naruto said, his voice firm and eyes determined. Hiruzen, hearing this from a 6-year-old boy and seeing the determination in his young eyes, was very impressed. To think that such a young boy can have a mindset like this at such a young age. At that moment, Hiruzen knew about the 4th Hokage Minato Namikaze, how proud he would be if he saw Naruto, his only son, and how well he is growing up as a person. Hiruzen knew that he was going to tell Naruto about his parents very soon. There was also the truth about the 9 tails being sealed inside of him. Sooner or later, he will have to tell him about everything. Getting out of his thoughts, he turned to his side with a big smile on his face. I'm impressed, Naruto-kun, you're only 6 and know what it takes to be a Hokage. You already possess the will of fire, Hiruzen said with pride, gentleness, and pride shining in his old eyes. Naruto looked confused, not understanding what his Gigi was trying to imply. The will of fire? What does that mean? Seeing his confused face, Hiruzen's smile turned small as he turned around and looked over his village. The village is a big family. In here, everyone is family. The desire to protect one's family builds thicker and stronger bonds between everyone in the village. That is what the will of fire means. That is the job of the Hokage and every shinobi of the village. It is why we protect each other and our home. Now you understand, Naruto-kun, what it means to be a shinobi and what it means to be the Hokage. Now understanding what it means to be a shinobi and what it means to be the Hokage, he smiles slightly. He looks over the village, seeing people walking the lightly lit streets, happily chatting with each other. Family. You always protect your family. Now, most importantly, realizing what the village means, he knew what he had to do in his life. Turning around to face the Hokage, Naruto said, I promise you, Gigi, that I will protect this peace. I will protect this village. I will do everything in my power to keep this place like this and protect my home. Should anyone try to harm it, whether they are my comrade, friend, even my family, I will show no mercy to them in defending it. I give you my word, Gigi, Naruto said, a strong conviction in his voice. Hiruzen's eyes were lightly wide as he was shocked at the words and promise Naruto made to him. You were meant for great things, Naruto-kun, I can see it just by looking at you, thought Hiruzen as his face mellows into a loving smile. Hiruzen patted Naruto's shoulder. You will be a great shinobi and an even greater Hokage, Naruto-kun, I believe in you. Naruto's face brightened with a big smile at hearing his Gigi say he believes in him. Thank you, old man. I won't let you down. Hiruzen was happy to see Naruto happy. He then looks up, seeing the sky, and realized it was getting late. Looking over to Naruto, Hiruzen continues. Come now, Naruto-kun, it's getting late and tomorrow is going to be your first day at the academy. You don't want to be late on your first day because of waking up late, do you? Hi, Gigi, said Naruto. He really doesn't want to be late on his first day in the academy. Come on, I'll treat you at Chiraku's for dinner, said Hiruzen. Naruto happily complied and started to walk down the monument with his Gigi. Ichiraku's stand. The walk there was rather quiet. Naruto and Hiruzen just observed the lightly lit streets with people walking to and fro. Now, coming to stop at the Ichiraku's ramen stand, they both went inside and sat on the stools in front of the counter. Hiruzen cleared his throat to get the attention of Tucci, the owner of the shop, who turned around at hearing the noise. Coming over to the counter, he sees his favorite customer sitting with the third Hokage.
Hokage-sama, Naruto-kun, it's been a while. How are you both?
Tucci asked, directing his question to Naruto.
It hasn't been that long, old man. I'd been busy with my training, responded Naruto, a small smile on his lips.
He knew Tucci and his daughter, Ayam, had always treated him well, considering him their best customer and sometimes even giving him free ramen on special occasions. He noticed that he also cared for him, as he often asked him what was going on if he hadn't seen him in a while or if he was feeling down.
So, what will you have, Hokage-sama? Naruto? Asked Tucci.
I'll have 1 bowl of pork ramen, please,
said Hiruzen.
I'll have the usual, old man, Naruto said calmly.
1 pork ramen and 1 Naruto special coming right up, said Tucci as he walked to the back to prepare the ramen. After some time, Tucci came back with 2 hot ramen bowls and set them in front of the two. Without wasting any time, both Naruto and Hiruzen with a quick itadakimasu before happily digging into their separate bowls.
The three were chatting with each other for a while until a new voice got their attention.
Naruto-kun, Hokage-sama, how are you?
They soon found Ayam coming around the counter and standing with her father, the voice coming from her. She greeted them with a big happy smile on her face. She is 11 years old with long, dark brown hair and large black eyes, her skin fair. She was wearing a white robe with the sleeves folded, a sort of dark apron tied at the top and a bright bandana.
I'm fine, Ayam-chan, how are you? Hiruzen asked the happy girl with a gentle smile.
I'm also fine, Hokage-sama, replied Ayam before she turned towards Naruto and placing her elbows on the counter. Leaned forward, she asked him.
So Naruto, tomorrow's going to be your first day at the Ninja Academy, are you done with your preparing?
Naruto nodded and replied, Hi Ayam-chan, I'm finished with all the preparation. That's good, Naruto, do well with your academics,
said Ayam. Naruto replied with a nod. I will.
Yeah brat, become strong and make us proud, Tucci said. Hiruzen smiled at seeing the interaction between them. He was happy that Naruto was able to create a bond with some people. He just hoped that he could also create some special bonds with children around his age. Seeing that Naruto had finished his ramen,
Hiruzen stood up. Well, Tucci, your ramen is as delicious as ever, but we should get going now.
Naruto soon stood up as well, thanking the father and daughter for the ramen, who in return wished him luck happily. All the while, Hiruzen placed the money on the counter and walked out of the small restaurant with Naruto. They walked the street in silence until they arrived at Naruto's apartment.
Well, Naruto-kun, get a good night's rest and don't be late tomorrow, alright? Hi Gigi, I'll be on time, replied Naruto.
Hiruzen nodded, satisfied, and said, I'll be going now, good night Naruto-kun, I'll see you tomorrow.
Good night Gigi,
replied Naruto before Hiruzen left the apartment building. After that, Naruto went inside his small apartment, which was decent and clean, and went towards his bathroom to freshen up before getting changed for bed. After finishing getting ready, Naruto went to bed, setting up his alarm clock for 5 a.m. and went to sleep. Next morning. The next morning, Naruto woke up from the sound of his alarm clock ringing. He looked at the clock and thought that he still had some time before the academy started. He decided to get ready and went towards the bathroom to finish his morning routine. After cleaning up, Naruto came out from the bathroom with a towel wrapped around his waist. He dried himself with another towel as he grabbed his clothes. He wore high-collar half-sleeve navy blue t-shirt with the Uzumaki clan symbol, black pants, and ninja sandals with it. He looked at himself in the mirror, seeing he looked decent and attractive. He then decided to check the academy books that the third Hokage had bought him before placing them in his school bag. After he was done, he looked at the clock and noticed that he still had some time before he had to go to the academy. Seeing as he still had time left, he went into the kitchen to prepare himself some eggs and toasts with milk for breakfast. Preparing breakfast soon reminded him of the time Gigi had taught him how to cook. Finishing preparing his breakfast, he went towards his dining table to eat. While eating, he decided to read a book on sealing for beginners, which was given to him by the third Hokage when he showed his interest in the sealing arts. He really wanted to know more about the sealing arts after learning that the second and fourth Hokage were very good at that art. He hadn't started practicing making the seals yet. The Hokage had warned him not to practice seals alone until getting a good understanding of it, along with making his handwriting better. Finishing his breakfast, he placed the book aside and went to wash his dishes. Soon finishing, he looked at the clock again and noticed that it was finally almost time for the academy to start. He went over and picked up his bag, walked out of the house and locking the door behind him. He decided to roof jump, seeing that it would be faster than walking. He was soon jumping on the nearest building before jumping over to the next building, going progressively faster. Ninja Academy. 10 minutes later, Naruto arrived at the front gate of the academy. Without wasting any time, he went inside and noticed all the kids were around his age and standing in a group, facing the stage. Some academy teachers were standing around the stage, seemingly waiting for the third Hokage's arrival. He also noticed that behind the kids, parents and family members of the students stood calmly, some of the adults giving him dirty glares. He didn't pay them much mind as he walked to stand in the last line of the students in the back. A few minutes later, the third Hokage arrived in a shunshin and stood on the stage, gaining all the people's attention. Congratulations on your acceptance into the academy, everyone. From this day forth, do your best to reach your goals on becoming a shinobi of our village. You are all going to be the future of our village, so take your studies and training seriously. Do your best and good luck to you all. The Hokage finished his speech, a proud smile on his face. After the third Hokage finished his speech, all family members said their goodbyes before the teachers took the students away towards their classrooms. Arriving at the classroom, students took their seats and settled down. Naruto took a seat in the corner, near the window. Settling down, Naruto notices some of the girls were glancing at him. Naruto paid them no mind and looked ahead when the teacher opened the door and walked in. The teacher was an 18-year-old man of average height and build. He had brown hair that he kept up in a ponytail, dark brown eyes with a scar that ran across the bridge of his nose. He wore the standard Konoha shinobi outfit, complete with forehead protector, sandals, and a chunin flak jacket. His sleeves were also rolled up about halfway. He came to stand in front of the students and, after glancing over everyone, started with his introduction. Good morning, students, my name is Irika Umino. You will be calling me Irika-sensei from now on. Getting a chorus of "Hi Sensei Irika" continued. Very well then, we will start with the introductions first. Just telling us your name and dreams will be alright. He then pointed at the first row of students to start. As the class continued with the introduction, Naruto looked at everyone and noticed that there were a lot of clan kids. The Nara, Akamichi, Yamanaka, Aburame, and Uchiha, as well as some kids from civilian families. Seeing that it was now his turn for introduction, he stood up. My name is Naruto Uzumaki and my dream is to become the Hokage and protect the village hidden in the leaves. Finishing with his introduction, Naruto sat down and noticed that everyone was looking at him with surprise, some hiding it better than others. Paying them no mind, Naruto looked outside at the birds sitting in a tree. Soon, the introductions were over, making Irika smile at them. Okay class, before we start with our lecture, I wanted to say that I'm sure some of you have already been taught ninjutsu in your household. Here at the academy though, you will also be trained in coordination and working together as a team when you are in a group. The fundamentals are very important, so make sure you learn them well. Now then, our first lecture is going to be on history, said Irika. The lecture went without any incident, though. Throughout the lecture Irika was very impressed with Naruto as he was able to answer every question that he asked him. After a small break, Irika called for everyone's attention. Come on students, gather up in a line. We are going out for shuriken and kunai practice.
Irika took all the students towards the academy training grounds. There, in the training grounds, were training posts for target practicing as well as a few buckets of shuriken and kunai. Irika took them there and showed them how to handle and throw kunai and shuriken.
He told them to start practicing before going and standing on the sidelines, observing everyone. When he noticed Naruto, he was once again very impressed with Naruto's skills in. To think that he was throwing 4 kunai at the same time and hitting the center of the target every time. He decided to walk over to him for a small chat.
Naruto was throwing kunai when Irika showed up with a smile.
You are very skilled with kunai and shuriken throwing, Naruto.
Naruto looks at him and replied.
Hi sensei, I have been training in my alone time. Well, I must say Naruto, I'm impressed you're taking your training seriously at such a young age,
said Irika. Naruto just nodded with a small smile. Well, Naruto, if you ever need any help, you can come to me, alright?
Irika knew that Naruto didn't have many people in his life and some of the villagers also didn't treat him well because of him being the Jinchuriki of the 9 tails. Irika never did hold any grudge against Naruto as he knew the difference between the demon fox and Naruto. He knew that Naruto was the one who was keeping the fox at bay and protecting the village. He really wanted to help him because Irika knew that Naruto was just a lonely kid who didn't have many people to support him. Irika himself had lost his parents in the 9 tails attack, so he could understand him a little.
Naruto nodded and smiles again. Hi sensei, I will. Thank you, replied Naruto.
He was happy that his sensei is willing to help him and was not like some of the other villagers. Irika just smiled and nodded before going to observe the other students, helping some who were having a problem doing it properly.
After about 30 minutes, Irika gathered all students around in a big circle and said, It's time for taijutsu lessons. Before that though, is there anyone who's up for a spar?
After a few seconds, one of the students walked forward and stepped into the middle of the circle with his arms crossed and an arrogant smirk on his face. Seeing that Irika need one more student for the match to start but no one was volunteering, he decided to choose himself. He looked over everyone before deciding to call on Naruto. Come on Naruto, you're up. Naruto walked forward, stepping into the circle. He came face to face with his opponent, his face relaxed as the rest of his body. The other kid looks him over with arrogant eyes. You should give up Blondie, you don't stand a chance against an Uchiha. You won't be able to touch me. Naruto looked at him from head to toe and then he looked at Irika, wondering when he was going to start the match. Seeing his look, Irika sighed. Okay, both of you, before we start the spar you both need to make a proper confrontation with your dominant hand before you two begin. It's proper edicts dash. The Uchiha kid interrupted Irika's speech rudely. Come on sensei. Just start the match already so I can show him his place, trying to act cool in front of everyone. Irika sighed frustratingly. Enough Uchiha-san, shinobi hand-to-hand combat is a tradition passed down from generation to generation. You might think it's stupid to act formal but here at the academy, we have respect for tradition. Then Irika showed them the proper sign. First, you have to make sure you face your opponent and point one hand at him. It signifies the first half of making jutsu seals with both hands, and it shows your willingness to fight. This is full etiquette of the shinobi pair sparring. Irika explained. Naruto and the Uchiha both nodded. Both the children made the proper one-hand seal in front of each other. Seeing this, Irika started. Both fighters ready? Seeing them nod, Irika continued. Hajime. The Uchiha wasting no time, running towards Naruto with a punch aimed at his face. Naruto just stood there waiting for him. When the Uchiha came near Naruto, he grabbed his wrist and flipped him on his back, holding his arm, his head rested on Naruto's feet. The match is over, Irika said, shock present in his voice. He was surprised at how quickly Naruto had finished the fight. All the other students were also looking at him in amazement and shock. Some of the girls even had hearts in their eyes as they cheered for him.
Wow! Naruto-kun is so strong. He's so cool. Go! Naruto-kun!
The girls cheered for him loudly. The Uchiha, coming out of his shock, stood slowly and glared at Naruto.
Irika, seeing this, came between them. Good match, you two. Now both of you offer each other the seal of reconciliation.
Both of the boys crossed their middle and index finger with each other as a reconciliation seal, the Uchiha looking like he swallowed a lemon all the way.
The rest of the day went uneventfully at the academy.
As the academy ended, Naruto decided to head towards the Hokage Tower to visit the third Hokage.
Hokage Tower.
Arriving at the Hokage Tower, Naruto went up the stairs, soon coming to a stop at the Hokage's door. Naruto knocked on the door a couple of times before the Hokage's voice came from the other side.
Come in. Naruto opened the door and stepped inside.
Hiruzen looked up from his paperwork, smiling at seeing Naruto.
Naruto-kun, how was your day at the academy?
Naruto closed the door behind him before speaking.
Gigi, can you teach me some jutsu?
Hiruzen pauses in his paperwork, looking confused for a moment before continuing.
Aren't they teaching you that in the academy?
But Gigi,
it's too easy with what they were teaching there. I did everything the sensei asked me to do very easily, and I even beat an Uchiha in today's spar,
said Naruto, a frown tugging his face. Hiruzen listened to him before he smiled proudly at him. He stood up from his seat and walked up to him, patted him on the head.
Well done, Naruto-kun, you're quite talented for your age.
However, I can't teach you much as it will be unfair to the other students, and as Hokage, I can't show favoritism to anyone. Naruto was upset but nodded in understanding. Seeing the sad look on Naruto's face, Hiruzen felt bad for Naruto. He knew the others in the academy had the backup from their clans and can learn from their parents. Hiruzen walked back to his desk and opened one of his drawers. He took out a couple of scrolls and gave them to Naruto. Here, take this scrolls, they have some advanced chakra control exercises and a couple of academy-level jutsu in them.
It will help you in the future.
Naruto's eyes lit up as he took the scrolls with a large grin.
Thank you, Gigi.
Hiruzen chuckled a little, sitting back down.
Well, you can ask me for anything, alright? Naruto nodded and said,
Okay, I'll see you later, Gigi.
I'm going to get some training done.
Hiruzen nodded to him with a smile before getting back to work. Naruto left the office to get to the training ground, excitement coursing through him. Naruto soon arrived at the training grounds near the forest. He always came here to train, not many people came around there, so he can train here without being disturbed. Coming to a stop at the opening, Naruto decided to open the scrolls to see what techniques he had to practice. Opening the first scroll, Naruto started to read the 3 techniques written down.
Transformation Jutsu, Substitution Jutsu, Fire Style Fireball Jutsu, both E rank and 1 C rank. Not bad.
He started reading the description of the justice, trying to fully understand them. The first one was the Transformation Jutsu. Transformation Jutsu, this jutsu allows the user to transform either themselves or another object into the appearance of another person, animal, or object. This is one of the basic jutsu taught at the Ninja Academy. Fundamentally, all ninja know this jutsu. The transformation technique requires constant emission of chakra while mentally maintaining the form. The hand seals required for this are dog boar ram. Substitution Jutsu, with this technique, the user replaces their own body with another object, generally with a log, the moment an attack is about to land. This creates an optical illusion, making the enemy think the attack was successful. From this, the user can use the lapse in the enemy's attention to attack or flee from the battlefield. Explosive tags can be attached to the replacement for an added surprise. Despite it being a basic ninjutsu taught at the academy, it is seen as a useful art that can be applied in a variety of situations as it allows for a swift getaway from danger.
This technique even allows a restrained shinobi to escape capture.
Fire-style fireball jutsu is a technique where chakra is converted into a fire from the inside and expelled from the mouth, either as a massive sphere or as a continuous flame. The released flames will engulf their target and are capable of leaving a crater in the ground's surface with enough force. The scope of this attack can be altered by controlling the volume of chakra that is mustered. The required hand seals for the jutsu are tiger or snake ram monkey boar horse tiger. Finished with the first scroll, Naruto then opened the second scroll. In the scroll were the techniques on how to better control your chakra.
First one was leaf balancing.
He had already learned this technique when he first started his ninja training 2 years ago. The second one was the tree walking exercise without the use of hands, by concentrating chakra at your feet and moving up. The third one was the water walking exercise. It was similar to the tree walking exercise but the more advanced version of it. Naruto decided to first start with the chakra control exercise. As it said in the scroll, the better your control is, the better your success rate of your jutsu is without you wasting unnecessarily chakra. With that, he started his training for the rest of the day.
Chapter 2. Time skip 6 months later. It's been 6 months since Naruto started the academy.
He had improved a lot in the past 6 months. He had mastered some of the basic jutsu, which the third Hokage had given him months ago. His only problem was that he was not able to properly control his chakra. He had completed all the chakra control exercises in the scroll but still, he was not able to properly control his chakra and perform Bunshin no Jutsu. The third Hokage told him it would be difficult to perform basic 8 Bunshin, because of his large chakra capacity. Such large amount of chakra can't be controlled all at once and the basic clone jutsu required very little chakra to be formed.
He had not yet learned anything new in the academy. They were still going on with shinobi history and chakra introduction theories.
He was still pretty advanced from his classmates. All of his teachers were very impressed with seeing his progress, though, some more afraid or disgusted than others.
Some of the nice ones were even calling him a genius in the shinobi arts.
Today, he was in the training grounds near the forest, practicing a new taijutsu style. A month ago, the Hokage had shown him a new taijutsu style called the hummingbird, to which he perfectly adapted to because of his speed and reflexes. Naruto was quite surprised when the Hokage told him that the hummingbird taijutsu style was created and used by the fourth Hokage. While he was elastic to be able to learn his idol's taijutsu style, he was also confused, wondering why the Hokage would teach him the personal taijutsu style of the fourth Hokage. He soon just brushed it off though, saving the question for a later date as he got into learning the taijutsu style. The style suited his growing body quite well. He hadn't mastered it yet but he was still quite talented at it. Of course, he still messed up every now and then, that was just the way of learning. Naruto stopped his training, standing straight, and observed the area around him, looking for a presence of another person. He had a feeling that someone was watching him for some time now, he just couldn't find the person.
"Come out now, I know you're there," Naruto said calmly while folding his arms.
"I'm up here," came a calm, quiet voice. Naruto looked up in the direction the voice came from, only to see a boy around 12 or 13 years of age, smiling and waving down at him.
"Who are you and why are you spying on me?"
Naruto asked him, eyes slightly narrowed.
"My name is Uchiha Itachi," said the boy, now known as Itachi. Naruto observes the boy.
Itachi had onyx eyes, under which were long, pronounced lines, most likely from stress. He had jet black hair that was pulled back in a ponytail, reaching mid-back, his center-parted bangs framing his face perfectly. He was wearing a black shirt, seeing an Uchiha symbol on the back when he moved. He wore grayish-black pants with a weapon pouch strapped to his thigh with bandages around his ankles, wearing black sandals. "You didn't answer my question, Itachi-san," Naruto said with a little frown on his face. Itachi smiled slightly before speaking, his voice still soft.
"I am not spying on you. I come to train here sometimes.
Naruto looked him over for lies before nodding, turning around to start his shuriken and kunai practice, forgetting about Itachi. Itachi watched Naruto as he threw 4 kunai with both hands at the target and hitting the bullseye on all at them. You know, it's very rude to ignore a person standing beside you. You haven't even introduced yourself yet, Itachi said from the side. He knew who the boy was, every adult knew who he was. He just decided to be a little formal as this was their first time meeting each other. Naruto paused before turning around and blinking a couple of times, confused. He then laughed a little nervously, rubbing the back of his neck before saying, yes, sorry, I forgot. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, nice to meet you, Itachi-san. Itachi smiled at his reaction as it kind of reminded him of his little brother. It's nice to meet you too, Naruto-kun, but would you mind telling me why you are here? You should be at the academy at this time of day. I am sure Hokage-sama will not be happy if he found out you were skipping your classes. Naruto got a little embarrassed at that. He is caught. He had started skipping classes about a month ago, around the same time he got the hummingbird taijutsu, to focus on his training outside the academy. He knew that if the old man Hokage found out about his actions, he could get in serious trouble. He looked at Itachi, still embarrassed from being caught, and asked, You are not going to tell him, right? Itachi chuckled lightly at his question. It's alright, Naruto-kun, but would you mind telling me why you're skipping your classes? He asks again. Naruto sighs in relief, shoulders slumping slightly before answered Itachi. Well, they don't teach anything important in there. All they're teaching is chakra introduction and history lesson. Stuff I already know. It's boring. I can see that you are very talented for your age. I understand. Itachi said, looking at all the kunai and shuriken scattered around the training field. Looking back at Naruto, Itachi asked, Where did you learn to do this? Naruto smiled at him, pride shining in his eyes. Hokage Gigi helps me out from time to time. Itachi nodded, not at all surprised at his relationship with their Hokage, saying, Would you mind if I train with you, Naruto-kun? Naruto's eyes lit up slightly as he shook his head, happily replying back to Itachi's question. Of course not, Itachi-san, you can train here with me anytime. Itachi nodded in appreciation and soon, they both started their training. Itachi took out 8 kunai, holding 4 in both hands. Naruto looked at Itachi, curious about what he was going to do. Itachi jumped high in the air and launched all 8 kunai at the same time, before he quickly summoned 2 more kunai in his left hand, throwing both the kunai in the direction of other 2 kunai that were going off target. Hitting both kunai, he deflecting them and changed their direction in mid-air. Because of this, it makes him hit all the targets, even the 2 blind spot targets. Right as the last kunai hit, he landed on the ground, barely rustling up the dirt. Naruto, on the other hand, was wide-eyed at seeing Itachi's skills in the kunai jutsu. He had never seen anything like that. Still shocked, he quietly asked, That was cool, how did you do that? Itachi turned and looked at Naruto, slightly hidden amusement in his eyes as he watched Naruto's reaction. He decided to take pity on the boy and answered him. Well, the kunai jutsu is one of my specialties. Can you teach me how to do that, Itachi-san? Asked Naruto, excitement coating his voice thickly. I can teach you, Naruto-kun, you just have to keep practicing and improve your aiming, Itachi said as he relaxes his stance. Standing up straight again, he gives a small smile to Naruto before his face relaxes. Naruto nodded at him, still very excited. He always did love learning new things. Itachi then showed him how to hold kunai in both of his hands, telling Naruto to give it a try, which he did moments later. Naruto tried to do what Itachi did, but it came back as a failure. He tried it a few more times but couldn't hit the kunai in mid-air to change their direction. He was starting to get a little frustrated by his failure. Itachi, seeing this, shook his head and spoke up. You will get it in time, Naruto-kun, you just have to keep practicing it. Mainly your aim is that seems to be your main problem. Naruto sighed and nodded at Itachi. He knew that Itachi was right, but he was still a little disappointed that he couldn't do it after so many tries. He then started again, now determined to fully learn the move. After some more trying, Naruto slowly started to improve bit by bit. He was now able to hit the kunai in mid-air on some tries to change its direction, but was still unable to hit the targets as he wouldn't hit them the right way. Itachi, who was observing Naruto from the side, was quite impressed with Naruto's progress. It kind of reminded him of himself. Though, seeing that Naruto was starting to get tired, he interrupted him from trying to do it again. I think that is enough for today, Naruto-kun. You should rest now. Naruto freezes before relaxing and nodding to Itachi, agreeing with him as he was started to slow down. Once he put his kunai back in his holster, he walked up to Itachi and sat down on the log next to him, resting up a bit. Itachi, too, sat down next to Naruto, quietly speaking to him. You did well today, I didn't expect for you to improve this much. Naruto smiled at the compliment before responding. Thank you, Itachi-san, for teaching me your kunai technique to me. It is quite alright, Naruto-kun. I am glad to see you getting the hang of it so quickly. Itachi was quite happy that he has finally met Naruto. He really wanted to meet the boy for a very long time now. He was first curious about him as the adults always spoke badly of him. His curiosity soon turned into warmth once he finally met him. He got the little brother feel from Naruto. Itachi also knew who Naruto's parents were. His mother, Makoto, was best friends with Naruto's parents, Kushina Uzumaki and Minato Namikaze, the fourth Hokage. He himself was quite close to Naruto's parents before they passed. Kushina was his godmother. He had spent a lot of time with her, loving her company. He could still remember when Kushina told him that he was going to be a big brother. Flashback. A 6-year-old Itachi was walking out of the hospital, hand in hand with his mother, Makoto, and his godmother Kushina. He was looking at Kushina, wondering why they all came here. Looking at Kushina, who was walking ahead of him, Itachi asked, Aunt Kushina, are you sick? Kushina laughed loudly as she turned around with a big smile on her face, looking at Itachi. No, Itachi-kun, I'm perfectly fine. Itachi was confused as he asks innocently. Then why are you visiting the hospital? Kushina's eyes were bright as she answered him. You see, I'm going to become a mother soon. Tada bane. That's why I have to come in for a checkup. Itachi's eyes widened in surprise at hearing her answer. She was going to be a mother. He looked back at Kushina and asked another question. Does that mean I am going to be a big brother? Kushina pauses before continuing to walk, her grin turning into a gentle, loving smile as she stared at Itachi. She stopped walking entirely and turned around, walking up to him. She tapped his forehead with 2 fingers and said, Yes, Itachi-kun, you're going to be a big brother. Itachi rubbed his forehead but was happy that he was going to be a big brother. His mother, who was standing to the side, smiled at seeing the interaction between her son and Kushina. She knew her son was very close with Kushina and Minato, but her husband, Fugaku, was against on letting Itachi interact much with Minato and Kushina. Makoto soon noticed that it was getting late, so she looked towards Kushina and Itachi, speaking up. We should get going, Kushina. Fugaku will not be happy if he is aware of me and Itachi coming to visit you. Kushina snorted at Fugaku's name. She was still not happy with Makoto for getting married to that team who just wanted power but just nodded. It's alright, Makoto, you and Itachi can come by any time though. My home is always welcome to you too. Then, Kushina turned in Itachi's direction with a big smile, poking his forehead with 2 fingers again. Bye, Itachi-kun. I'll see you around. Itachi rubbed his forehead again with a small smile. Bye, Auntie Kushina. He said before walking off with his mother, waving goodbye to Kushina. Flashback end.
Itachi, coming back to reality, looked at Naruto as he was calling for his attention. "I'm sorry, were you saying something, Naruto-kun?" Naruto frowned slightly before looking at Itachi, asking a question that caught Itachi off guard. "Why is there fighting in life?" Itachi was indeed caught off guard by the question. He was not expecting anything like that. He was quiet for a while, not knowing what to say as he himself was asking the same question as well. Itachi shook his head at Naruto with a slight frown. "Who knows, but if fighting can be stopped, I'd like to stop it." Naruto was quiet for a bit, looking down into his lap as he thought. After a bit, he looks back up at Itachi, determination burning in his eyes. "I'd like to do the same thing, I don't like unnecessary fighting." Itachi looked at Naruto with unreadable eyes. "Then why are you training to fight if you don't like fighting, Naruto-kun?" "So that I can protect our village and become the strongest Hokage, then people will have to respect me," said Naruto, no hesitation in his voice. Itachi's eyes softened slightly as he smiled at him. "Well, that is a big goal you have, good luck with accomplishing it, Naruto-kun." Naruto smiled back at Itachi and thanks before speaking again. "I should be going now, Itachi-san. Thank you for teaching me that kunai move of yours," he said before he got up and started to jog away, waving goodbye to Itachi. "See you around, Naruto-kun," Itachi said softly, he himself waving goodbye. He suddenly got very nostalgia. Itachi smiled a small happy smile, looking in Naruto's direction. He has finally met Naruto. He has been trying for so long to introduce himself in front of Naruto but didn't know how to confront him. Nevertheless, he was glad that he finally met him. He had promised himself that he will look after Naruto. On the other hand, there was still the situation with his clan. As they slowly started to lose their patience with the village, things after the Kyuubi attack were not good for the Uchiha clan as the higher-up villagers started accusing the Uchiha clan of being behind the attack, making the clan start to isolate itself in suspension. Now, as he had joined the ANBU, his father wanted him to supply secret information to his clan for its own benefits. He knew his clan would go to any lengths to take back the power they wanted. He just hoped that his little brother and Naruto never get involved in it. Naruto's apartment. It was soon nighttime and Naruto was in his apartment practicing calligraphy so that he could soon start practicing the sealing arts. The Hokage had told him he needed to be very good with calligraphy so that it would be easier on him for drawing up seals. Midway done, he heard a quiet knock on the front door. Already knowing who it was, he quickly got up, making sure he didn't knock over anything before he ran to open the door. Opening the door, he was greeted by the smiling face of Sarutobi Hiruzen, the third Hokage, and his Jiji. Naruto smiled at seeing Hiruzen before grinning. "Jiji, I have been waiting for you to come." Hiruzen laughed lightly, an eyebrow raised as he wondered what's gotten him in such high spirits tonight. It wasn't very often you get to see this kind of expression from Naruto. "Well, I wanted to talk to you about something, but first, would you mind if I come in?" Hiruzen asked calmly, if not kindly. "Huh? Of course, Jiji. Please, come in. I just got a little excited to see you," said Naruto, rubbing the back of his neck in embarrassment before quickly stepping aside for Hiruzen, allowing him to come in. Hiruzen stepped inside, pausing for a moment as he looked around. Seeing all the papers and ink around the room, he realized that Naruto was practicing calligraphy. He walked in further as he looked closer before turning to look at Naruto, who had a happy expression on his face. "So, you were doing calligraphy, Naruto-kun?" Hiruzen asked Naruto. "Hi Jiji," Naruto said, a slight pep in his voice. His excitement was slowly calming down but neither minded. Hiruzen nodded to him, before asking him another question. "So, where were you today? I got news that you didn't attend today's academy classes. What do you have to say for yourself?" "Huh, Naruto-kun? It's not just today either, you haven't been attending academy classes regularly for around a month.
Naruto looked a little uncomfortable. He didn't expect for the Hokage to find out about him ditching his classes.
He tried to play innocent as he nervously said, What are you saying, GG?
Now, don't try to hide it, Naruto-kun. Your academy teacher, Irika, had come to my office this afternoon and informed me that you were not attending his lessons regularly.
Just tell me the truth, please. Why are you not attending the academy regularly?
Hiruzen asked, his voice stern. Naruto, seeing no reason to hide it anymore, decided to come clean.
He folded his arms, not meeting Hiruzen's eyes, and said, Fine, you got me.
Gigi, I already know all the stuff they're teaching in the academy.
That doesn't mean that you can skip them.
Don't take the academy classes for granted, you've still got a lot to learn, Naruto-kun.
It seems to me that you're getting arrogant in your skills, thinking the academy is a waste of time for you. Hiruzen scolded Naruto.
Naruto lowered his head down in shame. He never liked upsetting his Gigi who cared so much for him. This time though, he was the reason for getting his Gigi upset at him. He was ashamed of himself for letting his Gigi down. I'm sorry, Gigi, it won't happen again, said Naruto, still not meeting Hiruzen's eyes. Hiruzen stared hard at the boy before sighing. Listen, Naruto-kun, I know that you already know all the things they are teaching you in the academy, but everybody can't be like you. In the academy, they teach you according to your age. That is not all they teach though, they also teach you how to communicate and form a bond with your fellow comrades.
Who of which you're going to be working with in the future. Right now, you don't know anything about it or them.
Naruto nodded slowly, head still bent.
I understand, Gigi, I promise I won't do anything to upset you.
I will attend my classes regularly from now on. Hiruzen relaxes slightly and smiled at Naruto, satisfied now that Naruto understood the importance of basics.
I am glad that you understood this, Naruto-kun, but would you mind telling me what you were doing when you were not attending classes?
Naruto was happy that his Gigi had forgiven him, so when he went to speak again, he looks up at him, meeting Hiruzen's eyes. I was training during that time, Gigi. I even met someone today at the training grounds while training, he was pretty cool and strong. At this, Hiruzen had his full attention towards what Naruto was saying. He had to know who this person was and whether he was friend or foe for Naruto.
Who did you meet, Naruto-kun? He was from the Uchiha clan, I think his name was Itachi Uchiha. He was pretty strong and he even taught me some awesome kunai moves. Naruto said, a small excited smile gracing his face.
Hiruzen relaxed at hearing Itachi's name as he knew that Itachi was close to Naruto's parents, thus making him care for Naruto very much. He was nothing like the others in the village.
Ah.
Yes, Itachi.
He is a very talented boy and is quite strong too. He even graduated from the academy at the age of 7, being considered a prodigy among our shinobi. He recently joined Anbu, the youngest to ever achieve the ranks of Anbu.
Naruto's eyes were wide at the information his Gigi was giving him. He was pretty sure he wasn't supposed to know of Itachi's rank and statues. Graduating from the academy at the young age of 7, and being the youngest Anbu operative.
He was impressed.
Faintly, he wondered if, he too, could graduate at the age of 7. He then quietly mutters to himself.
Wow! Itachi-san is really strong.
Hiruzen, at hearing him, smiled before saying. Yes, he is. You're also very talented, Naruto-kun. I'm sure you will also achieve great things if you train hard enough.
You know me, Gigi, one day I am going to become the Hokage, Databeo.
Naruto said with a big grin on his face, lighting up his features. Hiruzen also grinned at Naruto, happy that he was happy. I am sure you will, but for now, you should get to bed, it's getting late and I must get going. Hi, Gigi, said Naruto cheerfully. Good night, Naruto-kun, I hope I don't get any more complaints about you ditching classes. Hi, Gigi.
I will not be doing anything like that anymore, promise. Naruto said with a small laugh, rubbing the back of his neck.
Hiruzen nodded to him with another smile, saying his last goodbyes as he left. Naruto soon sighed before going to collect all his papers that were scattered everywhere, cleaning up the mess that he made before going to bed.
Time skip, 4 months.
It had been 4 months since Naruto had met Itachi, as well as the day when Hiruzen had scolded him for skipping his classes. On the next day, he came to class where he got scolded again by Irika for doing something like that. He apologized to Irika and told him that he won't do it again in the future. He had kept his promise. He also met Itachi next time when he went there for training. They soon started a training schedule. Day by day, his relationship with Itachi had grown. He even started calling him Itachi Nisan, and Itachi was more than happy in allowing Naruto to call him Nisan. Now, he was sitting in class, listening to Irika, who was teaching a history lesson. Naruto was not paying much attention to him as he already started reading history books from his Jiji's personal library. Though, when Irika mentioned the name Minato Namikaze, the fourth Hokage, he started paying full attention to Irika. He wanted to know about the man. As Irika started telling the students about the fourth Hokage, Naruto was amazed. He never knew that Minato was considered the fastest shinobi to ever live and one of the most powerful men to ever walk the elemental nations. His achievements and his role in the third grade ninja war amazing him even more. Naruto was amazed, though hiding it well as he thought about the man and his achievements, how powerful his idol must be. Soon, Irika went on about how on the 10th of October, the Kyuubi attacked the village and how no one was able to stop it until the fourth Hokage arrived on the battlefield to face of the Kyuubi, sacrificing his life to defeat and kill the said Bijou. Naruto was confused by the story, not understanding one bit as he had read the book on the first Hokage's history and his fight with the Kyuubi in Madara Uchiha at the Valley of the End. It was written in the book that the Bijou can't be killed. He raised his hand to get Irika's attention, curious. Irika, at seeing Naruto's raised his arm, motions for him to speak. Yes, Naruto, do you have a question? Hi, Irika-sensei. Naruto said, standing up. What it is? Irika asks. Irika-sensei, you said that the fourth Hokage killed the Kyuubi by sacrificing his life, but how is that possible? I have read a book on the history of the first Hokage, which was in the Hokage's office, and it clearly said that you can't kill a Bijou. Naruto said, still confused and curious. Now with his questioning, the whole class started to pay close attention because they didn't know anything about this. One of the students asked Naruto a question. What are you saying, Uzumaki? Are you doubting our fourth Hokage's power in killing the Kyuubi? Some students whispered, agreeing with the boy. What are you saying, Naruto? Irika asked Naruto. He hadn't expected anything like this to happen. Naruto started again, now determined as he saw his sensei stutter. I'm not doubting our fourth Hokage's power. I was just asking. What I had read in the book was that during the battle between the first Hokage, Hashirama Senju, and Madara Uchiha at the Valley of the End, Madara Uchiha summoned the Kyuubi and controlled it with his Sharingan to assist him in the battle against Hashirama-sama. However, with his power of wood release, Hashirama-sama was able to defeat the Kyuubi and Madara, but he didn't kill the Bijou because it was impossible. After his battle with Madara Uchiha, he started collecting all the Bijou, one tail to the 9 tails, and decided to give said Bijou to the other great nations to maintain the balance of power. The Sand Village has the 1 tails, the Cloud Village has the 8 tails and 2 tails, the Stone Village has the 4 tails and 5 tails, the Mist Village has the 3 tails and 6 tails. As a sign of peace and to maintain balance and power, one of the remaining 7 tails was given to the Waterfall Village as a peace treaty because of the assassination attempted on the first Hokage's life. The whole class was speechless and wide-eyed. They didn't know any of this at all. Some were wondering how the hell Naruto got his hands on this kind of information, but that was a mystery to them. To think this kind of thing happened in the past. It wasn't only the students, as Irika himself was speechless. He didn't expect any of this, but he listened to Naruto as he continued. What I don't understand is that there was no mention of the Kyuubi in the book at all. However, if the first Hokage was giving the other-tailed beasts to the other great nations for a balance of power, then why didn't it mention anything about the Hidden Leaf Village also getting one? I mean, how could there be balance if one village was without the power of a bijou while the other villages were? What happened to the Kyuubi after the fight at the Valley of the End? There was no mention of the Kyuubi after the fight until the 10th of October. As Naruto finished, the whole class was silent, no one knowing what to say. The students were processing the information Naruto told them. Irika, on the other hand, was sweating bullets as he didn't expect this history lesson to turn out like this. Now what was he supposed to say to Naruto? That he was used on the Kyuubi's attack to seal the bijou by the 4th Hokage? That he contained the 9-tailed fox inside himself? No, the Hokage would kill him. The whole class was waiting for his answer, curious about what he had to say. Though, with the way Naruto was eyeing him, he lost his voice to speak and was slightly intimidated, thinking about what he was supposed to do now. Luckily, the school bell started ringing, ending the class. Irika let out a near silent sigh as he started collecting the papers and books on his desk and said without meeting any of the students' eyes, "Well, I think that is it for today. We will meet here again tomorrow. Please do your homework and enjoy the rest of the day, everyone." With that, he exited the classroom, lowering his eyes away from Naruto. Naruto, on the other hand, narrowed his eyes, not liking his question being ignored. He was started to get annoyed by all the secrecy and was getting suspicious as everyone avoided talking about the Kyuubi's attack. He decided to get his answers later and exited the classroom, not minding as the whole class staring at his disappearing back. Chapter 3. Hokage's Office. The sun was shining brightly in the sky, signifying the time being noon. Sarutobi Hiruzen, the 3rd Hokage, was sitting in his office with 3 elders. One was an old woman while the other 2 were old-looking men. They were also his former teammates, now turned his advisors. They were discussing a few lax matters when suddenly, they heard a knock on the door. Seeing that they were almost finished with their meeting, Hiruzen spoke. "Come in." The door opened and Irika walked in the office. Upon noticing the village elders with the Hokage, he quickly bowed and said, "Hokage-sama, elders, I apologize for interrupting. I will come some other time if you're still busy." Hiruzen shook his head. "It's quite alright, Irika, we were almost finished with our discussion anyway. What brings you here in my office today?" "I wanted to discuss with you about one of my students in the academy, Hokage-sama," Irika stated. Hiruzen looked at Irika with a raised eyebrow, wondering what was so important that an academy teacher had come to him regarding one of the academy students to discuss about. That was unless the student was Naruto Uzumaki. "Who might this student be, Irika?" Hiruzen asked, inwardly hoping that Irika doesn't bring up Naruto's name. "It's Naruto Uzumaki, Hokage-sama," Irika responded, not seeing the hidden problem. Now that got the attention of the elders, especially Danzo Shimura, because he had tried several times for Naruto Uzumaki to be handed over to him for his training so that he could mold him like a perfect shinobi. A weapon for the sake of the village, he was always denied by the 3rd Hokage though. Hiruzen could easily read Danzo's face. He wanted to avoid any discussion about Naruto in front of him because of his interest in Naruto, but he realized that he couldn't just tell them to leave as it would lead to a pointless argument and a complicated situation. Hiruzen signed and looked at Irika, asking, "What about him? Did he do something now?" "Yes, no, I mean no, Hokage-sama. It's just that I don't know how to handle him." Irika answered nervously. He didn't really know how to explain to the Hokage about what happened during today's class. Hiruzen looked at Irika with narrowed eyes and questioned him again. "What do you mean you can't handle him, Irika? Say it clearly so that I can understand your situation." Hiruzen knew that Irika doesn't have any negative views regarding Naruto, unlike some other people in the village. He himself had made it clear with Irika before the start of the academy. That time, Irika had ensured him that he didn't hold anything against Naruto and knew how difficult his life would be without any supportive family or friends.
He couldn't understand now what could be the problem with Irika. Unless it has to be something else.
He looked at Irika with narrowed eyes, telling him to explain everything. Irika saw the Hokage's look and understood the signal immediately. He quickly starts explaining, "During today's lecture, I was teaching the class about the history and past of the 4th Hokage. Everything was going like normal until it came to the part about the Kyuubi attack when I finished telling the class that the 4th Hokage died killing the 9-tailed fox."
Hiruzen and elders saw where this was going.
As it was, the 3rd Hokage's law was that the young generation didn't need to be told the full truth behind the Kyuubi attack so that Naruto could live a normal life, making friends among his age. Hiruzen knew that Naruto himself didn't know the truth about him being the Jinchuriki of said beast. It was being kept a secret from him and the younger generation, as Hiruzen forbid the people forever mentioning about Nine-Tails Fox being sealed inside Naruto. The 3 elders were also aware of Naruto, keeping a close look on Naruto's progress. For now, they decided to watch quietly from their sitting places. Hiruzen looked at Irika, motioning for him to continue. "After I finished, Naruto asked me on how the 4th Hokage killed the Kyuubi, when the 1st Hokage, Hashirama Senju, couldn't kill the beast during his fight against the Kyuubi in Madara Uchiha at the Valley of the End.
That's not all, Hokage-sama.
He also spoke that, after the fight at the Valley of the End, that 1st Hokage collected all the 9 bijou and gave 8 bijous to the other great nations in the form of friendship, to maintain the balance of power." Hiruzen and the 3 elders were shocked at hearing this. Even Danzo, who normally didn't show much emotion on his face, couldn't help himself this time. They never expected this from any academy student, but they listened to Irika as he continued.
"That's not all, Hokage-sama.
After this, he asked me why didn't the Leaf Village get any bijou. If the 1st Hokage was giving the bijou to the other nations to maintain balance and power, then Konoha must have kept one for itself. He also asked why the name of the 9-tailed fox was never mentioned anywhere until the day said bijou suddenly attacked the village on October 10th.
Irika finished his explaining.
The Hokage and the elders knew that this was a dangerous situation that they were in with Naruto.
They couldn't tell Naruto that he was the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi.
More importantly, that the Kyuubi was always in the village after the fight at the Valley of the End. As the 1st Hokage's wife, Mito Uzumaki, sealed the Kyuubi in herself so it could not bring any harm to others. The whole truth was being kept a secret from the general populace of the village. Only a few selected people know the full truth.
Kohara Udatane, who was sitting next to Hiruzen's left, was an old woman.
Her hair was pulled back in a twin bun, locked in place by sunbon. Like her outfit, she wore a simple long-sleeved kimono, closed by an obi. A jacket and sash over it. She looked at Hiruzen.
"What are you going to do about this, Hiruzen? It's a serious matter. How did he even get his hands on this information in the first place?"
Hiruzen, who was deep in thought, didn't respond to her as he was thinking about everything Irika brought up. He knew that Naruto was a very smart and matured kid for his age. One day, he would have to tell him the truth, but Naruto wasn't ready to know the truth yet.
"Hokage-sama," Irika spoke, getting his attention.
Snapping out of his thoughts, he looked at Irika before asking. "Irika, did he tell you where he got this information?" "Hi Hokage-sama, he said that he read an old book on Hashirama Senju's history from your personal library," Irika responded. He was worried about what this meant for Naruto. Hiruzen mentally cursed his luck, rubbing his forehead in slight frustration. He should have known.
That brat, always curious about things.
With his interest in the previous Hokage's lives, he had allowed Naruto to read the books from his personal library. It seems that was a bad decision on his part. The elders looked at him before Danzo stated. "You are getting careless, Hiruzen, allowing the Uzumaki boy to read from your personal library. You know that there can be some sensitive information that shouldn't be known to the others, let alone a kid."
Hiruzen sighed and looked at Irika. "What did you say to him, Irika?" I didn't answer anything, Hokage-sama. Luckily, the bell rang and I left the class. Irika answered Hiruzen. That's good, I'll talk to Naruto myself.
You don't have to do anything, Irika, just continue your classes as it is. Hiruzen informed him.
Hi, Hokage-sama, Irika said.
Hiruzen nodded to Irika, silently dismissing him.
Irika bowed to him and left the office.
Now, Hiruzen was left alone with his advisors. He knew what was coming up, so he mentally prepared for it. You should hand over the Jinchuriki to me, Hiruzen. I will train him to be a loyal shinobi of the Leaf Village. Then we will have the perfect weapon against the other nations, stated Danzo. I will be doing no such thing to Naruto. Don't take me for a fool, Danzo. I know you only want him because you want his power. I will make this clear, Danzo. Naruto will be a shinobi under my command, a leaf shinobi. Not some emotionless drone that you want him to be, do you understand? Hiruzen said with narrowed eyes, his voice deadly. It would be the best option, in my opinion, letting Danzo take care of Naruto, Hiruzen. Spoke Hamura, who was quiet until now. Koharu also nodded, agreeing with him. I didn't ask for any of your opinions on the matter. You three are only here for advising me, not to command me. This conversation is over, dismissed. Hiruzen stated with a commanding tone. They tried to argue with him, but Hiruzen didn't listen to them. I said dismissed, I have work to do, Hiruzen stated angrily, as he was starting to lose his patience with them. The elders left quickly after that, knowing that they couldn't argue with him now. Danzo was gritting his teeth as he was once again denied by the Hokage for taking Naruto under his command. He believed that Naruto should be trained to become a weapon for the village for their safety and power. Before he was out the door, Hiruzen stopped him. Danzo, get this through your head. If you make any kind of move on Naruto or try to make contact with him, I will execute you. Understood? He warned Danzo. Danzo tightened his fists but nodded. I understand, Hiruzen. He left, leaving Hiruzen alone in the office. Hiruzen rubbed his temples in frustration. I am getting too old for this. With Naruto. Naruto was meditating, sitting under a tree, trying to calm his mind. What happened during class was still on his mind. He couldn't understand why the academy was trying to hide some of the past events, more importantly about the nine-tailed fox from the students. He was so caught up in his thoughts that he didn't feel another person entering the field. Not until the person spoke to get his attention. Naruto-kun. Naruto, recognizing the voice, opened his eyes and looked at the person. He smiled. Itachi-ni-san, when did you get here? Just a moment ago, Naruto-kun, Itachi responded. Just by looking at Naruto's face, Itachi knew that he was thinking something that was bothering him. Mainly, it was because Naruto was sitting still that gave it away he was bothered. He never sat ideally just to meditate. Something on your mind, Naruto-kun? Naruto knew that he could trust Itachi and share anything with him as he had become like a big brother figure to him. Naruto nodded with a sigh and spoke. It was during today's lecture in the academy that Irika-sensei said something in class that I don't understand. Why would he teach wrong information about the past? When I questioned him, he didn't answer any of my questions. Itachi was wondering what Irika was teaching them about that got Naruto so worked up, as well as why Naruto would say that it was the wrong information. He looked at Naruto, voicing his thoughts. What were they teaching you about, and why would you say that they were telling was wrong information? Naruto huffed before he went on explaining what happened during class. That they were teaching about shinobi history and some of the achievements of the fourth Hokage. Then the whole thing about Kyuubi came up and that it was killed by the fourth Hokage. He then went on telling him about what he read in a book on the first Hokage, that Bijou couldn't be killed, and about the first Hokage distributing the Bijou to the other nations. As Itachi continued to listen to him, he started getting nervous, thinking about what he could tell him.
He can't tell Naruto that the fox was sealed inside of him by the fourth. Naruto was still too young to know the truth. He also knew that Naruto was very smart, so if he was told anything about the Kyuubi attack, because if anything caught Naruto's attention, there was no stopping Naruto from asking questions until he was satisfied. He had to be careful from saying any unnecessary stuff from now on. The events you are speaking of are too old, Naruto-kun, and should remain in the past. There were some reasons for those events to be kept hidden from the general populace. Today's generation doesn't need to know about those events, Itachi stated calmly.
Naruto was annoyed that the village was keeping this important information hidden from his generation.
He questioned him on it. Why the hell can't we know the truth? I mean, we are upcoming shinobi of the village, shouldn't they tell us about the events that occurred in the past? Itachi sighed lightly, looking at him. You have a good point, Naruto-kun, but you have to understand that the times we live in today are far different from the times in the past. These are the times of peace, not war, where children were forced to grow up early because of the circumstances. The village is just trying for the children to live free lives like they should have before they become shinobi. Naruto nodded towards Itachi but still didn't agree with him.
Itachi, at seeing this, continued on.
Don't worry, Naruto-kun, you will know the truth when the time comes.
It's alright, I understand, Nisan, Naruto responded quietly. Itachi, reading Naruto's face, decided to distract him from thinking too hard on it, so he instead asked, So, how's your training going?
Naruto looked back up at him and answered. It's going alright, I think, but I'm still having problems with the clone technique.
I have completed the chakra control exercise, but still, I can't get my chakra control up to the level to perform a proper clone. Don't waste too much of your time on a single technique, that will be no good in a fight for you.
It requires very little chakra concentration to do the technique.
You, on the other hand, have too much chakra for a technique like that.
Itachi stated. What do you mean, Nisan? It is one of the 3 techniques you have to know to pass the academy, isn't it? Naruto asked, not fully understanding what Itachi was trying to say. The normal clone jutsu can easily be identified by the opponent. It will be no good in a real fight, so don't waste your time on it. Itachi responded to him. Naruto wondered. But it's still one of the 3 techniques to graduate the academy. If I don't learn the clone jutsu, how am I going to pass the academy? Itachi calmly responded back.
Because I'm going to teach you a different and more advanced version of a clone jutsu.
What jutsu you're going to teach me? Naruto asked eagerly, leaning in slightly.
I am going to teach you the shadow clone jutsu.
It's a jounin level jutsu, the advanced version of a normal clone jutsu. Itachi answered him. What makes it so different from a normal clone jutsu? Questioned Naruto. Itachi decided to show the jutsu to him instead of answering.
He performed necessary hand seals to concentrate his chakra into before he called the jutsu name. Shadow clone jutsu, he created 4 identical clones of himself before looking back at Naruto.
He then starts explaining. You see, Naruto-kun, it's called the shadow clone jutsu and it's not some kind of illusion. It's an actual replica of myself that I created by distributing my chakra equally among the others. They can even be used in combat as they can perform jutsu, which gives you an advantage in a fight. Your opponent will have a hard time identifying the real one among the clones, which will confuse them. Even with the Byakugan and Sharingan, it is impossible to identify the real one. It has many more advantages though, not just what I have listed. Naruto nodded in understanding. He was amazed by the jutsu which seems to make a replica of you, being able to do whatever you could do. Itachi then showed Naruto the hand signs for the jutsu, explaining how it works.
When you perform the jutsu, you make the necessary hand signs and concentrate your chakra in your body to split the chakra equally among your clones. The more chakra you use, the stronger your jutsu will be, but keep in mind that the clones will dispel by 1 or 2 solid hits in a fight, understood? Naruto nodded at this, so Itachi continued. Since I showed and explained to you on how to perform the shadow clone jutsu, I want you to try to perform it.
Don't try to rush into it, just keep your head calm, alright? Naruto nodded, alright.
He then made the hand signs for the jutsu, calling out its name.
Shadow clone jutsu.
Nothing happened, so he tried a couple more times but still couldn't make a single clone. Itachi, who was watching him from the side, spoke up.
Don't worry, Naruto-kun, you will get it in time. You just need to practice a little, so keep it up, alright?
Naruto nodded in his direction before continuing with his training. After a couple of hours, Naruto had perfectly performed the shadow clone jutsu, as he was able to make up to 10 clones of himself because of his large chakra capacity. It did leave him tired out for trying so many times though. Right now, he was looking at his clones with a satisfied look on his face, happy for learning such a high-level technique. Itachi, who was watching him from the side still, was also very satisfied with his progress. He was quite surprised by how fast Naruto was able to master the technique. He really didn't expect him to learn it so fast.
Itachi commented Naruto with a small smile, "You did well, Naruto-kun, I didn't expect you to learn it so quickly."
"Thanks, Nisan," Naruto responded to his compliment. "You still have to keep practicing the jutsu until you can make the number of clones you want.
You're still wasting your chakra unnecessarily if you're not in control of your jutsu, alright?" stated Itachi. Naruto replied with a simple hi.
"For now, I want one of your clones to go with my clone into the forest, then we'll see what happens." He then made a single clone of himself.
Itachi's clone then took one of Naruto's clones into the forest with him.
Naruto, on the other hand, was unable to understand what Itachi was trying to accomplish by doing that. He dispelled his other clones and decided to watch what happens quietly. After a couple of minutes, Itachi looked at Naruto's shocked face, still not knowing what happened in the forest, but realized a moment later of what transpired.
"Do you know what happened in the forest?"
Naruto was still in shock, but he still replied. "Your clone killed my clone by stabbing him with a kunai."
Itachi nodded at his answer before Naruto came to the realization. "Wait a minute. How do I know what happened in the forest with the clone?
It was like I was there experiencing myself being stabbed by a kunai,"
he asked in confusion, not understanding how it was possible.
Itachi, seeing his confused face, started explaining it to him. "It is one of the advantages you get from using the shadow clones. When my clone stabbed your clone in the back, it was dispelled, transferring all of its memories back to the original.
That is why you know what happened back there.
The shadow clones are ideal for spying, since the user can simply send a clone to spy on a target before having the clone disperse itself to pass the information back to the original."
Wow!
Hey,
does that mean whatever jutsu the clone learns, it can also be transferred back to the original? Naruto asked eagerly. He was amazed by learning about the memory transfer part of the clone.
"Yes, it is possible," Itachi replied him with hidden amusement.
"Then can I use the clones in training to learn jutsu?"
he asked with an excited smile.
Itachi looked at Naruto for a moment, then spoke. "No, you're not going to use clones in that way."
"Huh?
But why?" Naruto asked, dropping the smile on his face.
"The shadow clone jutsu is a forbidden technique for a reason. Not many people can perform this technique. You're only able to perform the jutsu without killing yourself because of your large chakra reserves,"
stated Itachi. Naruto still couldn't understand what Itachi was trying to say, so he asked.
"But you said it yourself, I have a large chakra capacity, so it would be helpful for me if I used the clones for training. You have to understand, Naruto-kun, your chakra coils and body are still in the development phase. All the clones' memories can put too much of stress on your mind, it can hinder your development and can affect your body in a negative way. Maybe in time you can use the clones for a training purpose when your chakra coils are fully developed, but not now,"
he answered Naruto calmly. "Alright, I understand, Nisan." Naruto nodded in understanding, still a little disgruntled. Don't worry, Naruto-kun, you're progressing very quickly.
You are way ahead in comparison to the other kids your age.
While it's understandable that you want to become strong, but you should also be aware of your limitations, Itachi stated. Hi, you don't have to lecture me about this time, Nissan. You are starting to make a habit of it nowadays, I think. Naruto responded with arms folded. Itachi's eyebrow twitches at hearing Naruto say that, but he composed himself quickly and spoke. Whatever, you get my point.
I should get going now, I have to get ready for my mission tonight.
Naruto nodded. Alright, I'm going to stay for a bit longer and continue with training.
Itachi nodded before he smiles, calling Naruto over. Naruto, with a confused look, walked up to him. As he came near, Itachi poked his forehead with 2 fingers. Naruto stumbled backward a little, rubbing his forehead, and glared in Itachi's direction, but he had already left in a shunshin, leaving him alone.
He was fuming inwardly. Stupid Itachi. 6 months later.
A lot had happened in the past 6 months with Naruto. He continued to progress at very impressive speed as he quickly mastered the shadow clone jutsu to the level where he can control the number of clones he wanted. He also started interrogating his clones into his fighting style using a tanto. Itachi had gifted him the tanto on his 7th birthday, later teaching him how to use it in battle. His bond with Itachi kept getting deeper in that time, leading him to meet one of Itachi's closest friends, Shisui Uchiha, when he started joining them in training. He became quite close to Shisui as well. He also had a long talk with his surrogate grandfather, the 3rd Hokage, about the whole incident that happened in the classroom with Irika. The Hokage had told him that he was still too young to know the sensitive information, but he promised him that he would tell him the truth when the time comes. Now, we find Naruto in a sparring match against Itachi, both the fighters standing on the opposite edges of the training grounds as they stared into each other's eyes. A small leaf was floating in the light wind in the middle of the field. Both sets of eyes observed its decadence towards the ground. The moment the leaf made contact with the grass, both the fighters shot forward with genin level speeds. Naruto, once reaching Itachi, tried to deliver a punch straight in the stomach of the Uchiha as he used his left leg as a support to drive the sucker punch into the abdomen of his opponent. Itachi, seeing the punch coming, twisted his body sideways to let it pass harmlessly. He quickly spun around on his right heel and scored his own punch onto Naruto's left cheek, pushing the blonde backward a little. Naruto though was quick to regain his footing lest he risks banging his head on the ground. Quickly running toward Naruto, Itachi never gave him a fraction of a second to regain his balance as he continued his assault on the academy student. He used his elbows, punches, slaps, and all sorts of attacks to make Naruto understand his mistakes and identify his errors in his defense. This continued on for a few minutes when suddenly, Naruto raised his right knee upwards to block a left hook from Itachi. Itachi was a little surprised at the sudden change in tactics but decided to go with the flow to allow Naruto some leverage as the younger of the two. He smashed his forearm into Naruto's shin as Naruto used his left hand to grasp Itachi's right fist in a metal grip. Now, both of Itachi's hands were busy overpowering Naruto while Naruto had his right hand free to attack Itachi on his exposed chest. Deciding to do just that, Naruto reared back his fist, as if charging chakra in it, before moving his fist at lightning speed towards Itachi to deal the damage. At the last moment, right before it hit, Itachi gave up the pushing contest and jumped backward while delivering a high kick to Naruto's chin, succeeding in lifting the blonde up into the air. Naruto soon crashed to the ground as Itachi landed on his feet, the look of surprise evident on his face. He contemplated how to deal with this new Naruto who could change a tactical disadvantage into a great opportunity in battle. Itachi had to admit that Naruto was progressing at a remarkable speed. Even though he was not going all out against Naruto, he was still able to stand up to him at this level for this long. It was quite impressive for an academy student, making him was beyond satisfied at seeing Naruto's progress. Itachi decided to finish the spar with a final move as he continued his assault on Naruto with his taijutsu. Naruto tried to block as many as he could, but it was getting difficult for him as now Itachi was taking him seriously, increasing his speed considerably.
Unknown to Naruto, Itachi was not doing it intentionally. His attacks had started to get slowly faster. He then kicked Naruto hard, sending him speeding backward and forcing him to lose his balance. Itachi quickly launched a couple of shuriken in Naruto's direction but suddenly realized his mistake. He knew that Naruto was still out of balance and wouldn't be able to move in time to block them. Itachi quickly dashed forward to save Naruto.
As the shuriken came near him, Naruto realized that he won't be able to block them in time, seeing as he was still unbalanced. He was helpless. Time started to slow down in front of him, making it easier for him to see the shuriken flying in slow motion towards him. Taking advantage of this, he quickly unsheathed the tanto from his back and threw it in front of him, hitting the shuriken in mid-air, pinning them to a nearby tree. When Itachi got to him, he gets the shock of his lifetime, as instead of Naruto's normally blue eyes, they were red-colored eyes with 2 tomo in his left eye and a single tomo in his right eye.
What the? He couldn't believe what he was seeing. How is it possible for Naruto to awaken the eyes of the Uchiha clan, the Sharingan?
He thought, still in shock. He knew that Naruto was not from the Uchiha clan and neither were Naruto's parents.
Then the question that was raised was, how did he awaken the Sharingan?
As Naruto started to collapse, he quickly caught him in his arms and checked for any serious injuries. Seeing no injuries, he assured himself that nothing serious had happened to Naruto. After finishing that, he places Naruto on his back and quickly started to move in the direction where he hoped he could get his answers.
Chapter 4.
As Itachi jumped across the roofs to get to his destination, he carried Naruto piggyback style. He was still trying to get his thoughts straight but was having a hard time doing it. Those red eyes, with 2 tomo in one eye and a single tomo in the other, looking directly at him. As far as he knew, neither of Naruto's parents belonged to the Uchiha clan.
Could it be that one of them was somehow connected to it?
He felt Naruto starting to wake up and looked at him on his back as he sighed in relief.
The boy's eyes were once again back to their normal blue.
He must be pretty exhausted since it was the first time activating his Sharingan, Itachi thought as he watched Naruto rubbing his eyes.
You alright, Naruto-kun? Itachi asked in concern.
Naruto quickly replied, I'm feeling alright now, but I don't remember clearly what happened. One moment I was feeling helpless seeing those shuriken coming towards me, and then I suddenly started feeling this burning in my eyes, then everything started slowing down in front of my eyes and I could see the shuriken coming towards me in slow motion. I don't remember much after that.
Don't think too much, Naruto-kun.
Just rest for now and I promise I'll explain everything later, Itachi assured him, but he inwardly wondered what he would say. Yeah, I'll explain everything when I myself understand what happened exactly and how you awakened the Sharingan.
Naruto nodded tiredly but then asked Itachi, his face looking confused. Where are we going, Nisan?
We're going to the Hokage's office. I have some important thing to discuss with him.
Itachi noticed Naruto's confused look.
I'll answer all your questions there, Naruto, you just rest for now.
Naruto nodded and rested his head on Itachi's shoulder as he closed his eyes.
Itachi smiled and picked up his pace to reach his destination.
Hokage Tower.
Itachi arrived at the Hokage Tower with Naruto on his back and quickly ran up the stairs towards the Hokage's office. He reached for the door to knock a couple of times. Come in, a voice said from the other side of the door. Upon opening the door, Itachi was greeted with the sight of the Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi, calmly sitting in his chair and smoking a pipe. Hiruzen looked at Itachi and when he noticed Naruto resting on his back, a serious look crossed his face.
What happened, Itachi? Is Naruto alright?
Itachi could tell by the look on the Hokage's face that he was concerned about the boy. The Hokage not only knew everything about Naruto and his parents, but he also saw Naruto as his own grandson. Itachi was positive Hiruzen was the only one who could give him the answers he had come for.
Itachi spoke. Naruto is fine, Hokage-sama. He's only exhausted from sparring.
Naruto nodded in confirmation and released his hold on Itachi so he could stand on his own.
Itachi continued. But something happened during our spar, Hokage-sama. What happened, Itachi? Hiruzen asked. I was hoping that I could speak with you in private. It's something sensitive. Itachi didn't want others to know about Naruto's Sharingan, especially not the Uchiha clan.
They would go to any lengths to get Naruto under their control, and that would not end well for anyone. Hiruzen signaled to the hidden Umbu Black Ops to leave the office and activated the privacy seal on the doors and windows.
He then looked at Itachi seriously. Now tell me what happened, Itachi.
His voice had the tone of authority. Itachi nodded at him, then looked at Naruto, who had a confused look on face.
Naruto-kun, would you please try to channel some chakra in your eyes? Huh, but why Nissan?
Just do what I said, Naruto, you will get your answers soon, Itachi responded calmly.
He wondered if Hiruzen had guessed where all this was going.
Naruto nodded a moment later and closed his eyes. As he channeled some chakra into them, he could feel a little pain, but moments later he could feel something different. The pain was gone, and in its place he felt power flowing there.
When Naruto opened his eyes, gone was their normal blue, replaced by two glowing red orbs.
Two Tomo showed in his left eye, and Itachi could see two Tomo in the right one too, before a shock of Naruto's blonde hair covered it. Itachi noticed the Hokage's face but didn't see the shocked expression he had expected. Instead, Hiruzen was staring at Naruto calmly. The look confirmed his suspicions that the Hokage already knew something about this and could give Itachi answers. Hiruzen walked up to Naruto and knelt down to his level to move the bangs from his face, getting a good look at his eyes. Well, I expected this to happen someday, but not this soon.
Itachi was confused. What do you mean, Hokage-sama? I don't understand.
As far as I know, neither of Naruto's parents have it.
So how could Naruto awaken those eyes? No, you're wrong, Itachi.
Hiruzen started but was interrupted by Naruto.
Would you tell me what you're talking about? He spoke in an annoyed tone.
Hiruzen took out one of his kunai, which had been polished to a mirror-like sheen, and held it before Naruto's eyes.
Take a look for yourself, Naruto. Naruto looked into the reflective steel of the kunai and his face registered surprise.
What is this? How is it possible? He stammered, his voice full of shock.
He then looked at Itachi with narrowed eyes. You know who my parents were and that neither of them had it? I need you to give me answers. Now.
Itachi felt uncomfortable but responded. Yes, I know who your parents were, and as far as you having the Sharingan, I don't have an answer myself.
That is why we came here. Itachi saw Naruto clench his jaw and tighten his fist and could hear the anger in his voice as he responded. You both knew from the start about my parents and never bothered to tell me about them, why?
Tears suddenly began to fall from his eyes. Hiruzen himself looked uncomfortable, and Itachi wondered how the Hokage would break the news to Naruto. If he told Naruto about his parents, then he would also have to tell him about the Kyuubi, and Itachi wondered whether Hiruzen believed Naruto was ready to know the truth or not.
I am sorry, Naruto-kun, it's not Itachi's fault that he didn't tell you about your parents.
It's because I ordered those who know their identity to keep it hidden from everyone and also from you.
I'm really sorry, Naruto-kun.
I am just trying to protect you and the village. Naruto blared at him furiously and stated.
Trying to protect me from what, huh?
I sometimes question myself who my parents were, if they loved me or just left me on my own in this village. You don't understand how it feels to walk the streets where people glare at you with nothing but hate in their eyes and to be called names like demon or monster and kicked out of stores for just trying to buy something. Itachi tightened his fists and looked away in shame for not being there for Naruto. He didn't have the courage to face him. He could tell by Hiruzen's face that he too was cursing the villagers for disrespecting the fourth Hokage's wish for Naruto to be seen as a hero.
The Hokage tried to calm Naruto down as he put a hand on his shoulder. I understand what you feel, Naruto-kun.
But he was once again interrupted as Naruto swapped away his arm. Naruto's glare hardened on him and he continued.
No, you don't understand anything.
I always watched fathers picking up their kids from the park and how they walked with their kids holding hands, and I always wanted to experience that. I wanted to feel my father holding my hand like that, and when I walked the streets with you the first time you held my hand while walking, and I felt happy that time because that time I realized what it felt like. You're the closest person I have who's close to a father or grandfather, and now I realize you've been lying to me my whole life. He finished as tears continued flowing from his eyes. Hiruzen did nothing other than look down in shame. He realized how much he had failed Naruto by breaking his trust in him. He was scared now, wondering what Naruto would do when he learned the whole truth about his parents and about being the Kyuubi container.
Would Naruto hate him? More importantly, would Naruto hate his own parents for what they did that night by sealing the beast in their own child?
But he didn't have any other choice but to tell him the truth, and he would try to explain as best he could. He was glad at least Itachi was here to help him out.
I'm sorry, Naruto-kun. I really am.
Hiruzen stated with guilt in his eyes. Why don't you settle down comfortably?
I promise you, I will tell you everything.
Naruto composed himself a little and spoke.
Alright, tell me everything and don't leave anything out.
I promise, but please don't interrupt me.
I will answer all your questions at the end, alright?
Hiruzen then looked at Itachi, who nodded in support, then turned his attention back to Naruto and started. As you know, Naruto, on the day of your birth the Leaf Village was attacked by the Kyuubi no Kitsune and no one was able to stop the beast.
Many shinobi and civilians lost their lives that day.
Until, as you know, the fourth Hokage stopped the Bijou by sacrificing his life. I arrived with a couple of shinobi on the battlefield where the fourth teleported the Kyuubi with him. There I found the bodies of the fourth Hokage with his wife, both impaled by the Kyuubi's claw. They had put themselves in front of it trying to protect something. It was then that we noticed the baby no older than a few hours, laying in front of them.
It was you, Naruto-kun.
Naruto appeared shocked as he listened to the Hokage, and Hiruzen was sure that many questions were coming to his head and was glad he didn't have the voice to ask anything. He noticed Naruto's shocked look and stopped himself from continuing. He didn't want to tell him anything more, but he knew that he had to go on. He hoped that after knowing the truth, Naruto would remain the same loving and gentle person. Itachi placed a hand on the boy's shoulder to show his support, but Naruto didn't acknowledge the gesture.
How, W hat or YYU saying Ji-chan, how is it possible?
Naruto asked in shock and Itachi gently squeezed his shoulder. We weren't able to hear anything or go to them because of the barrier the fourth Hokage's wife put around them, preventing the Kyuubi from escaping, but we know what was happening in there. As you know, Naruto, the Bijou can't be killed, so the only thing the fourth Hokage could do to stop the Bijou was to seal it away. He used a self-sacrificing sealing jutsu to seal it in a newborn baby whose chakra coils weren't developed.
That baby was you, Naruto-kun.
After the sealing process, the barrier dissolved, allowing us to move in, and when we got there they were barely alive. The fourth Hokage's last wish was for you to be seen as a hero for protecting the village.
His wife spoke your name on her dying breath. Hiruzen looked at Naruto to see his reaction.
Naruto was so shocked after Hiruzen told him that he was the one used for the sealing that he couldn't say anything as his whole brain went blank. He then came to, and remembering all the hateful glares and being called monster and demon behind his back, he began to cry again. Itachi was also having a hard time controlling his emotions as memories of his time with Minato and Kushina came rushing to him, but he controlled himself, as he had to show his support to Naruto. Reaching out, he hugged Naruto and tried to calm him. Naruto put a hand on his stomach where he had seen the seal many times while channeling chakra. He had always wondered what it was but never paid too much attention to it.
Now he knew.
He looked at the Hokage with puffy eyes.
Why me? Why did they choose me? Where were my parents that time? Did they give me away to the fourth for him to use me? Did they think of me as some kind of monster like many in the village think?
Hiruzen felt terrible for Naruto and at the same time cursed the villagers for what they had done to an innocent child. But he also smiled a little at Naruto and answered.
Your parents didn't hate you, Naruto-kun.
I had never seen your parents so happy as when they got the news of your arriving. They couldn't stop smiling, and as for why the fourth and his wife chose you for the sealing. They knew the meaning of sacrifice and couldn't ask anyone else to sacrifice their child, so they used their own baby boy who was born only hours before.
Naruto's eyes widened.
Never had he expected to be the son of the fourth Hokage. The fourth was his own ideal, the one he wanted to surpass in order to become the strongest Hokage. He smiled a very small smile as he thought of his parents and realized he had been wanted and loved by his mother and father. Itachi and Hiruzen both felt a little relaxed seeing him smile and were thankful that Naruto was taking the news calmly. He didn't seem to show any kind of dislike or hate towards his father and mother, but for confirmation, Hiruzen asked, "You don't hate them, Naruto, for what they did by sealing the Kyuubi in you, do you?"
Naruto shook his head. How can I hate them? I am sure they didn't have any other solution.
You once said to me that being Hokage is not a simple job that anyone can do, and being shinobi means self-sacrifice.
Well, my father was not just a shinobi, he was also the Hokage.
If the Hokage can't sacrifice anything for his village, then how can he accept other shinobi around him to do the same?
And if my Tao-san had used any other kid, then I don't think he would have deserved to be called a Hokage and father. I am proud to be his son.
Itachi and Hiruzen both were shocked at the level of maturity Naruto showed. Hiruzen was certain that many of the Jounin-level shinobi didn't have this type of thinking, and here was a 7-year-old who was in the second year of his academy showing the mindset of a true shinobi. They smiled at Naruto with pride in their expressions. I can't describe in words how proud I am of you, Naruto-kun. I am certain if your parents were here with us, they would also feel proud. Just remember that they gave their lives so you could live on. Don't waste it. Make them proud. Hiruzen ruffled Naruto's hair with a proud smile on his face.
Ji-chan, you didn't tell me Ka-chan's name, spoke Naruto, rubbing the back of his neck, realizing he didn't know his mother's name.
Hiruzen blinked a couple of times, then laughed a little as he remembered Kushina.
Ah, yes, your mother. Her name was Kushina Uzumaki, and she was the granddaughter of the first Hokage.
She was a very kind woman, always smiling and joking, but when she got angry she used to scare the shit out of people, especially your father. Because she had long red hair, people started calling her Red Hot Habanera. He and Itachi both shivered a little at the image of Kushina with fire in her eyes and her red hair waving like the Kyuubi's tails. Naruto laughed a little, imagining his father the strongest shinobi who ever lived with a scared face because of his mother. But he was also shocked about knowing that he was also the great-grandson of the first Hokage. Hiruzen's heart melted a little seeing Naruto laugh, thinking how much happiness suited his face.
He couldn't help but see both Minato and Kushina in him.
Hiruzen went over to his desk, opened a drawer, and took out a photo frame from inside.
He then walked back to Naruto and showed him the photo. This is the only photo I have of them in the office right now.
Naruto took the frame in his hand and looked at it. It was a picture of Kushina pregnant and smiling with Minato standing behind her with his hand on her stomach and a big grin on his face.
Naruto couldn't stop a single tear from falling from his eyes as he looked for the first time at his parents.
How beautiful his mother looked and how happy they both looked together in the photo. They looked so happy and perfect, he said quietly. Hiruzen and Itachi both smiled at him. Then Naruto looked at Hiruzen and asked a question which had been troubling him for some time.
Ji-chan, if my father sealed the Kyuubi in me, then why are the instructors in the academy saying that the fourth killed the Kyuubi?
Hiruzen sighed and spoke.
Because I forbade anyone from ever mentioning the fact that the Kyuubi is sealed in you.
I wanted to prevent the younger generation from knowing.
Naruto spoke in confusion.
But why would you do something like that? Hiruzen looked at Naruto a little longer and then responded. After the attack, the village was in state of panic. After having so many lives lost in the attack and the death of Minato, there was total unrest in the village, and when the emergency meeting was held where I told the council about the QB ceiling, some of the council members demanded your death. I ordered the council not to mention anything about you to the general public, but someone in the council leaked the information about you, and within the next day, half of the village was demanding your death. Seeing all this, I passed the law stating that whoever spoke of the QB being sealed in you would be sentenced to death without any trial. He sighed and spoke again. I only wanted you to live a normal life and make friends among your age. Naruto looked down after hearing this, feeling bad about how some of villagers treated him. Why didn't they understand that he was just a small child, not a monster or demon? It wasn't his fault that the QB attacked their village. Hiruzen put a hand on his head to show his support. Don't think about it too much, Naruto-kun. Humans always fear what they don't understand. Naruto smiled a little, thankful for his support, and was glad that he had people like Hiruzen, Itachi, Iruka, and Shisui who cared about him so much. Just you wait, Gigi, he said with determination. A day will come when everyone in the village will respect me and acknowledge me as someone important. This is the village my parents sacrificed everything for and died protecting. I will do the same. I will protect the village till my last breath. Hiruzen smiled at him with pride and said, I don't doubt that. Itachi was relieved that Naruto had taken the news so well and now decided it was time to get them on the topic that he had come here for. He wanted answers. Hokage-sama, all this doesn't explain how Naruto awakened the Sharingan. As you know, neither Kushina Obasan or Minato-sama belong to the Uchiha clan. How is it possible? Obasan? Naruto wondered, but decided to ask him later. He wanted Hiruzen's answer as much as Itachi did. You're wrong on that, Itachi. Minato had very strong ties to the Uchiha clan. Hiruzen responded calmly. Itachi was shocked. What do you mean, Hokage-sama? How is it possible? And if he did, why keep it a secret? Only a few people know about Minato's family lineage and his full history before he came to village. People only know him as a war orphan kid, but in reality he was the grandson of the village's greatest trader, Madara Uchiha. Itachi was shocked to the core and his eyes widened. Madara was the former head of the Uchiha clan and the co-founder of the village Konoha, the strongest Uchiha to ever live and second strongest shinobi of his time after Hashirama Senju. Who would have thought the village's most beloved Hokage, Minato Namikaze, could be the grandson of the most hated shinobi to come out of Konoha? But before Itachi could ask any questions, Naruto spoke. Naruto was also shocked. Am Madara Uchiha? But how? Why didn't anybody know about it? Naruto's shock made his questions come rapidly. Not many people know today, but when Madara left the village, he also had a 5-year-old son and wife who he had left behind. Hiruzen began. Because of his actions, there were many attempts on their lives from within the clan and from the village. Seeing all this, Hashirama faked their deaths with the help of his brother Tobirama to give them a normal life outside the village. Hiruzen paused, but both Itachi and Naruto were stunned into silence, and Hiruzen continued. They lived outside the village in a nearby town with their fake identities, and both the first and second Hokages kept in contact with them. As the child grew, his hate for the Uchiha clan and especially for his father also grew with him. He never became a shinobi and never awakened his Sharingan though. He was a simple farmer, and in time he married a woman named Mirin Namikaze and they had a son who was named Minato Namikaze. Itachi tried to process this new information. But Hokage-sama, why did Minato-sama come to the village? His parents were both killed during the Second War by some shinobi, and at that time, Minato awakened his Sharingan for the first time. He was only 6 at that time, and his father Izuna, noticing his eyes, told him to go to Konoha and contact Tobirama Senju, the second Hokage. But weren't there people in the village who noticed his eyes? Itachi asked. No, it was a well-kept secret, Hiruzen answered. When Minato met the second Hokage and told him everything, he also said that his father wished for him to not getting involved with the Uchiha clan. Then Tobirama-sensei took Minato under him, and with the help of Mito Uzumaki, he prepared a seal to hide his eyes so no one would discover it. Later, though, Minato told some of his close friends and people he trusted.
Wow, this is a lot to take in on one day, Ji-chan, Naruto muttered. I would never have imagined that I could be related to so many strong people. First I learned that I'm the son of the 4th Hokage, and then that I'm the great-grandson of Hashirama Senju, and now that I'm also the great-grandson of Madara Uchiha.
That you are, Naruto-kun. But if the news of your heritage becomes known, your life will be in grave danger.
There are forces in and outside the village who would be after you if they knew. That is why I kept the identity of your parents hidden. Naruto nodded in understanding. Don't worry, Gigi, I won't tell anyone about it.
Then he asked the question which he had wanted to know his whole life.
Ji-chan, is there any more of my family out there?
Hiruzen smiled at the innocent look on Naruto's face and happily responded.
Well, of course there is Naruto.
You already know them, or at least have heard of them. They are quite famous now. Your godfather Jiraiya was once my student and your father's sensei, and your mother's cousin sister Tsunade Senju. Naruto was relieved at hearing he still had a family, but then a fear came across his face.
They didn't abandon me, did they? No, Naruto-kun, they could never hate you. They just can't be in the village.
Jiraiya runs a spy network for our village and is constantly on the move. He has his duties for the village, but he does ask me about your well-being in every letter he sends me, and he even sends money every month for your expenses. Your toad wallet is a gift from him. Hiruzen's voice was reassuring. Then he sighed, thinking of his other student, and he shook his head a little and continued.
As for Tsunade, truthfully I don't know where she is.
She left the village after the 3rd Shinobi War and has only come to the village a couple of times.
The last time was to meet your parents. Why? Naruto asked in confusion.
She has her reasons. As for why she is not in your life, it's because she doesn't know you're alive. I have tried in the past to get in contact with her, but my attempts always end in failure. She is hard to track down, and I can't have Jiraiya go after her because he has been on an important mission for a long time. Naruto nodded in understanding but felt a new loneliness that he couldn't be with his only living family.
Itachi, who had remained silent, was still letting the information sink in. He was stunned to learn about the 4th's connection to the Uchiha clan and was also worried for Naruto.
If the information became known to the others, it would create some serious problems for Naruto. He looked at Hiruzen without emotion.
What now, Hiruzen-sama? We can't let the news about Naruto's Sharingan be known to others. How will we protect the information?
Hiruzen nodded in seriousness and responded.
You're right about that, Itachi. We can't let that happen, but you don't have to worry about that. Just give me a couple of days to find the seal in Minato's notes. He didn't use his Sharingan much, but he kept the notes on the seal safe. After putting the seal on Naruto's eyes, we don't have to worry about anything. Itachi nodded, relieved.
Hiruzen turned then to Naruto.
Naruto-kun, don't ever tell anyone about what I've told you. Wait until you fully trust a person to keep your secrets hidden, alright? Hi Ji-chan, don't worry, I can keep secrets. Naruto responded.
Hiruzen smiled at him, then looked at Itachi.
Itachi, make sure no one from the Uchiha clan knows about Naruto possessing the Sharingan.
I also leave Naruto to you, so you can train him properly on how to use Sharingan.
Itachi nodded and smiled. He would have done that even if the Hokage hadn't told him to. You don't have to tell me, Hokage-sama, I already planned on doing it. Naruto gave him a big grin. I am ready for anything, Nisan.
Hiruzen and Itachi both laughed at his expression and were glad that Naruto had taken the news calmly.
I think that is it for today, Naruto-kun, Hiruzen said.
You should go rest now and give yourself time to relax. You had a very long day today.
Come on, Naruto-kun,
I'll drop you at your apartment, Itachi said and went to his knees, showing his back to Naruto for him to climb on. Naruto happily climbed on Itachi's back and tightened his hold on him before waving goodbye to Hiruzen.
I'll see you later, Ji-chan.
Hiruzen nodded at him with a smile on his face, and as they retreated, he muttered with a long sigh.
Well, it went pretty well, thank Kami.
Then he looked at the portrait of the late fourth Hokage with a faint smile as he became lost in his thoughts. You will be so proud seeing your son Minato.
Both you and Kushina, I'm sure of it. One day he will become a great shinobi and a man, and I will help wherever I can in his journey.
Time skipped 2 years later.
With Hiruzen.
Hiruzen was standing near the window staring out over the village, but his mind was elsewhere, thinking about Naruto and the decision he had made earlier in the day. Naruto had grown excellently in the past 2 years and was performing much better than students his own age. The instructors in the academy considered him a once-in-a-lifetime prodigy and compared him with the likes of Minato Namikaze and Itachi Uchiha from their academy days. The news of him possessing the Sharingan had been kept a secret. Besides himself, only Itachi and Naruto, and now Kakashi and Jiraiya, who had been later informed about it, possessed the knowledge. But that wasn't what was worrying Hiruzen right now. Now, he was thinking about the meeting regarding academy results that he had attended this evening with the elders.
Flashback.
Hiruzen was sitting with his old teammates and some of the instructors of the academy looking over the recent performance of the students.
He was satisfied with the results of the students so far and he looked at Danzo.
Look at Naruto Uzumaki's report card, Hiruzen, Danzo said, handing him the report card and also getting the attention of the others. Hiruzen looked at his report card, and to say he was impressed would be a little thing. Compared with Naruto's results, the other students didn't even stand in the same league. His teammate, Koharu, asked in confusion.
What's wrong, Hiruzen? Danzo was the one who answered her.
Naruto Uzumaki is again ranking at the top of his class this year, top in every subject, performing well above his age and known to use the Jounin level Shadow Clone Jutsu. He beat a senior class student who tried to bully him and his classmates, and he's also known as the once-in-a-lifetime prodigy with the likes of Minato Namikaze and Itachi Uchiha.
Hamura spoke.
Shadow Clone Jutsu was a very high-level jutsu, and for him to know such a technique is pretty impressive. Yes, he is very talented Hokage-sama, but also very kind and respectful with others and his fellow classmates.
I have seen him many times helping others in class and he never showed any arrogance in his abilities, Irika informed them proudly. He doesn't fit in at the academy anymore, Danzo said. He has shown great maturity and is very strong.
I say let's graduate him early and promote him to genin rank. The others looked at him in shock at this suggestion, but it was Irika who voiced his thoughts.
But he is too young to become a shinobi.
Hiruzen also nodded in agreement.
Irika is right, he is too young at the moment and the time is different from our time. We are at peace now.
We don't want children to fight at such young ages.
Let him enjoy his childhood before getting involved with the shinobi world. Danzo sneered at Hiruzen and his weak ideology and spoke firmly.
Don't be foolish, Hiruzen. There were many shinobi who graduated at such an early age.
Just look at Itachi Uchiha and today he's an Umbu caption.
If we let him continue in the academy, we're just wasting such a fine talent.
Hamura and Koharu agreed with Danzo, stating that the main priority was to make their village strong and Naruto would be a fine addition in their shinobi ranks. I agree with Danzo-sama, there isn't anything left that we can teach him at the academy. It was one of the academy instructors sitting next to Irika who spoke.
Hiruzen knew that Naruto was strong and could already become a genin, but he had always hoped for him to make friends with his age group, and to be promoted with older kids could destroy his career if they didn't treat him well. He spoke after thinking carefully. I agree with you, but as you also know, Naruto is a special case. If we suddenly promote him with kids he doesn't even know that could destroy his shinobi career, and we can't have that. I have decided that instead of graduating him early, I will advance him to the final year class. There he will graduate in 1 year, and during that time he can also get to know his fellow classmates better and form bonds with them, so he can put trust in his teammates. Danzo and the other thought for a moment, and finding this to be a good option, showed their agreement with his decision. That will be a good option, Danzo said.
Irika spoke in concern. Are you sure, Hokage-sama? Is it wise to let him graduate at such an early age? I understand your concerns, Irika, but I also can't ignore his performance. He doesn't fit in the academy anymore. Flashback end.
Hiruzen sighed and brought himself back to the present. Only time will tell if I've made the right decision, Hiruzen thought as he looked at the fourth Hokage's face on mountain above the village.